guys, it's Lauren Morris. I'm a junior 1 here at the college, and today I'm going to be talking about multifocal acquired motor axonopathy, or MAMA for short, which I will definitely be using throughout this video. So the documentary that I chose, or the resource I chose, was a documentary. It's called I'll Push You. It's about two best friends called Justin and Patrick, and they go across the world to Spain and travel 500 miles across the country on a hike. It's an incredible journey. Justin is in a wheelchair, fully relies on Patrick throughout the whole thing. The reason that I chose this was because I actually grew up in a wheelchair, in and out of one. I suffer from something called complex regional pain syndrome, where the neurons don't fire right, needless to say, and sometimes I'm in a wheelchair. This really hit close to home. Justin talks about a lot of things called like reliance when you're in a wheelchair on others, and I related so much to him. It was amazing. I'm like so glad that I watched this. So I'm going to be talking about MAMA. Basically, it's a rare, progressive neuromuscular disease. They think that it's an autoimmune disorder. However, they don't really know for sure. There's not much research on it, which is why we need to raise money for it. So basically, they think it's an autoimmune disorder. So the immune system attacks the motor neurons, which we know are the nerve cells that control muscles. So when the motor neurons cannot function properly, then the muscles they control become weak and then can degenerate or become ineffective. So on the cellular level, this means that these neurons cannot propagate the action potential as well, therefore causing a decreased function overall in activating that muscle. So this can also cause axon death. So hold on, I have... that's not the right tab. Sorry, hold on. Nope, here it is. Sorry. So I have this brief. We all know how an action potential works, how it goes down the axon terminal, goes to the synaptic cleft, and eventually motivates the muscle to work. So in MAMA, this action potential cannot propagate down the axon terminal. Sometimes it'll misfire at the wrong velocity or just all around be pathogenic and just is ineffective. So the action potential never reaches the cell of the muscle, so it can never be used. All right, there's that one. Let me go back to me, if I can. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we'll have to... Oh, there we go. Sorry. Technical issues. So, because that they think that it is an autoimmune disorder, they started using immunoglobulin to help treat patients at an early stage of MAMA, and it actually has been proven to help effectively slow the progression down and to help them be able to regain activity in their affected muscles. So signs and symptoms of this disease really reflect ALS. A lot of times people will become diagnosed with ALS instead of MAMA. Just like Justin in the documentary that I watched. He was diagnosed with ALS for a few years before they realized that that was not what he had. So like ALS, it does affect your motor ability, but he still has all sense. Like, you can still feel everything. It just affects movement. So, symptoms are weakness in the area that's affected, inability to move it, limpness. So the way it happened, it started in Justin's right foot. He injured it in a car accident, and then years later noticed weakness. So they do think that it is due to a traumatic event. So like Justin's car accident, 13 years later he gets diagnosed with MAMA. Kind of like me, my CRPS was activated by a traumatic event, which was me breaking my ankle. Some similarities there, which is kind of freaky. So, although it is similar to ALS, it's not as life-threatening, which is good. It's progressed more slowly. So it doesn't necessarily have an effect on the length of life, but it does cause a significant amount of disability, unfortunately. Like I said, it's treatable with some immunotherapy. However, that is only really effective in early cases. So for Justin, unfortunately, probably not going to help him too much. So many associated issues. I was just thinking, there's not really that much research. They don't know what all is associated, but I know that learning in nursing school, venous stasis, when you can't move your legs or you can't move your limbs, there's a bigger chance of blood clots. So I think that people who can't move their legs, people with MAMA, where it's affecting their legs, they might get higher risk of pulmonary embolism. So that's a neat way to synthesize everything that we're learning in nursing school. Also, I think that a lot of patients with MAMA suffer from mental health issues. So for me, when I was in a wheelchair, I really suffered with anxiety and asking others for help. In the documentary, Justin came to tears at the amount he felt like he was a burden on his friends who were helping him across this 500-mile journey. But by the end, he realized, no, he wasn't a burden at all. They were really grateful to help him and kind of learn from the experience. So he did talk about all of the anxiety and fear and feeling like a burden. So I feel like that can kind of turn into depression. So a lot of research is done on people that aren't as progressed as Justin. Justin's kind of like the face of MAMA right now. If you look up this disorder, his face is everywhere. His is affected for his neck down. So he can turn his head, he can move his head, but he cannot raise his arms, he cannot move his legs. He can move his shoulders a little bit, but not that much. A lot of people, it's just one area, a small affected area instead of their whole body. Justin uses a wheelchair. He can't feed himself, he can't dress himself, he can't bathe himself. He is solely reliant on his best friend, his wife, and his children. So for this biography, I definitely recommend it to anyone. I am going to click actually on here. I have a free link. It's allpushyou.com. I'll link it down below. You can actually watch this for free on their website for 48-hour rental. I purchased it before I realized that you can get it, but it's also on Amazon Prime if you have that. You can also look at this website to get any resources on how to help. There's great information. Justin and Patrick actually go around the world and do conferences and motivational speeches, which is amazing. So you can look a little bit more of that. There's some more videos about the documentary as well. It was an amazing, I was talking to Dr. Webley when I chose this. She loves this so much, and I think I love it just as much as she does because I was crying throughout the entire thing. It's honestly a beautiful piece on how much humanity can help one another if they really put their mind to it, and how they can really learn from each other. So I also have a resource. Hold on, that's the screen recorder. I'm sorry. So this is called Live Unlimited Stories, MDA.org. I will also link it below. You can donate to Justin and Patrick's fundraiser to help MDA research efforts, which is pretty cool. There's also a little bit excerpt from their book. They also have a book, too. So, okay, so hold on. I have my friend William here. I'm going to be interviewing him. He has been through thick and thin with me throughout all the stages of my illness, in a wheelchair, out of wheelchair, goofing around. He's like one of my best friends. So I'm just going to interview him about what it was like for him when I was in a wheelchair. So if you'd like to.
Hi, everybody.
Let me make this bigger. I thought I clicked it, but I didn't. Sorry. So, well, yes. I know I suffered from anxiety a lot in high school. I mean, it was high school, but in a wheelchair, it was a little bit different. I was very nervous. I wanted to be independent, and I felt like a burden on you and all of my friends, other friends. So I just wanted to know, like, when I was helping you, like, carry my backpack, help me in my car, all the things that I needed, did you feel like I was a burden?
No, because, I mean, friendships are, you know, like give and take. So I was always happy to help out, and you always helped me out in a lot of ways too, especially a lot of emotional support. Gone through some stuff in the past that you helped me get through that I needed. So it was a very give and take relationship on both sides. You know, two-way street.
Anyways, we did have a lot of fun goofing around in my wheelchair. Honestly, I have learned a lot from that experience. Now I'm not in it as often. I feel like I've grown more as a person, whereas if I was dealt with that again, which I might, never know, I feel like I would be able to handle it and know that the world doesn't just see a wheelchair. The world sees a human and wants to help that human experience everything the world has to offer, like they did for Justin in that amazing documentary. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comment down below. And I hope you check out the links that I put. Thanks.